Alright, here's our next problem. We are starting at the point 3, 5. We're rotating around the origin, which is 0, 0. And I want to know, if this is our starting point, where is this point if we go clockwise 270 degrees? Where is this point if we go counterclockwise 90 degrees? So if you figured out the pattern by now, you don't have to draw the diagrams and everything like that. I mean, it's not going to be a big deal at all. But if you haven't figured out the pattern, then we're going to have to draw out the full diagram and kind of pick out spots here. So that's what I'm going to do, assuming that maybe you haven't figured out the diagram yet. So I guess what I'm going to do is and maybe this is easier too than even me using a ruler. I'll switch it up here. I will just draw a line through that. So we got that much of it down here. And then I also need to go diagonal this way. Remember, so it's a perpendicular line. Remember, it has to be a 90-degree angle. So for that, maybe I will get my protractor out. And as you can see, I'm using a lot of different tools here. So whatever you think is easiest for you, I recommend that's what you use. So I'll go on here. Alright, looks like I'm a little bit off of 90. That looks like that's perfect for 90. Let me move it down a little bit so I can draw my line. And I guess I'll get my drawing tool back out. Maybe this would be the easiest. I'll click a line right there. And hey, that's pretty slick right there. Perfect. Okay. That actually didn't take hardly any time at all. I will get rid of this protractor because I don't need it anymore. Now I've got everything that I need. I just got to go around in a circle here. Remember, ideally, this would be like if we had one of those compass, and we put the sharp point here, the pencil up here, and we just draw a circle around here. We'd have if we went clockwise, we'd have our 90, 180, 270, and 360 is back to the beginning, or counterclockwise is just the opposite. 90, 180, 270, 360 back to the beginning. So remember, we have to have the numbers 3 and 5 in here. So our point around here that's going to have 3 and 5 in it's going to be -3, -5, which is going to be right there. Okay, so that is -3, -5, and that it would be 180 degrees because that's completely opposite. Over here, let's see. Looks like we got to have 3 and 5 in there. Looks like the only way to do that would be, well, there's 3, but 5 would be all the way up there, so that's not going to work. So it's got to be 5, 3. That's the closest that we're going to get probably right there. So we've got -5, 3. And that's going to be 90 or 270 depending on if it's going to be clockwise or counterclockwise. So I'll leave that one blank for now. And then if we go over here again, we have to have a 3 and a 5. 3, 5, -5 would be all the way down here. So it's got to be 5, -3, which would be right here. Okay. So we've got 5, -3. Alright, so now if my question is clockwise 270, okay, so that would be 90, 180, 270. Clockwise 270, that's my answer. If I need to go counterclockwise 90, that's just going to be one turn this way, and it's going to be the exact same answer because they're in the exact same spot right there. Clockwise 270 is 3 turns this way. Counter is 1 turn this way, but they end up in the same spot. And again, before we move on to the next question, take a look at the numbers we have here. This is my 0 degrees and my starting. Take a look and see how 0 degrees compares to 180 degrees. Take a look and see how our other two, whether they're 90 or 270, depending on whether we go clockwise or counterclockwise, compare to each other. And then look and see how 0 degrees compares to one of these two. You should be able to, hopefully by this point, write down a definite pattern for this here. Alright, now we're going to switch it up a little bit here. Instead of just having one point, we're going to have a shape. So I've got an isosceles triangle here. Now, the easiest way to do this, if you found the pattern, then it's going to be really easy. But the easiest way to do this, if you haven't found the pattern, is select maybe just a couple of points to do this process with. You don't really need to do all three, because if you can get a couple of them, you can probably just figure out with how big this original triangle is where the other points are going to go. So let's just start with this top point right here. Okay, there's our top point. There's the origin. So I'm going to draw a line between those two. That's going to be a good start for us here. So draw a line through here, and bingo. Okay. And by the way, that original point right there looked to be -9, -4. Okay. Now we got to go perpendicular through this to get the other two, so I can get my protractor back out. Let's see, let's turn this a little bit here. Perpendicular, so it's got to make a 90-degree angle. That is pretty close. Well, there we go, right through the 90 right there. It's straight up and down in that line. So now I will draw another line. Oops, yep, there we go. Alright, as close as that as I can. Alright, there we go. So now we're going to get all the other tips of our triangle here. We'll close that. So it looks like we need 9 and a 4 in there. So if we need a 9 and a 4, looks like our 9 and our 4, 9 and a 4, that's not going to work. So it's probably got to be this and, yeah, right here. Okay. So we got that one right there. That is -4, 9. Okay. I know what this one's going to be just because I know what the pattern is if we start over here at 0 degrees, because that's our starting point. But if you don't know what the pattern is, can't be 4, 9, because that's not even close to the line. It's got to be 9, 4, so it'd be right here. Okay, so that'd be 9, 4. Alright. And then our one down here, hopefully you know the pattern for the across from each other, and you know the pattern compared to this by now, but if you don't, I'm looking at 4, and it has to be down here. So it looks like we've got 4 and -9. Okay. Alright, now we've got those points on there, and we probably need one more point for our triangle. So I think what I'll do is, I think it's probably best if I just get rid of that line maybe, and then possibly get rid of this line because we have those other ones on there, and we'll just use a different color here. We'll use this purple color, and we'll find this point right here. Okay, and this point is -10, -7. -10, -7. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Get my line. We'll go through the origin here. Try to make it as straight through there as possible. Yeah, that's probably the best we're going to do. And again, it doesn't have to be super perfect. I'll get my protractor out. I'll do the other line just so I can get that part out of the way. 90-degree angle is what I have to make. Got to make like the T shape. Bring it over here. That doesn't look too shabby. So we will take our line. Draw it right through there. That's probably good enough. We'll get this out of the way. Alright. So now we need to remember we need to have 10 and 7 in this here. So if we're going to have 10 and 7 in there, I would say that if this is -7, well, there's 10 right there. So that's got to be it right there. That's got to be our point. So that's going to be -7, 10. And then we got to have a 10 and the 7. So I'm going to say it's probably going to be 10. Yep, that's about perfect. I did that one about perfect. So that's going to be 10, 7. And then if we go over here, let's see here. I don't know if I drew my line long enough here. That might be something I need to fix here. Let's kind of extend it out a little bit. That's not very straight, but it'll be okay. 10, 7. Let's see here. 7 and 9. 7 10's right there. It's got to be this one. So it'll be right there. Oops. There we go. And that would be 7 and -7 and -10. Alright, so now we have 2 points for each one, and you should be able to draw the other one in there because you see that those are 2 apart. So this has to be 2 apart from here, and this would have to be 2 apart from here, and this would have to be 2 apart from here, and then we've got this one. So we've got our triangles drawn for everything here. There's a triangle, there's a triangle, there's a triangle. So now we just have to answer the question. So if this is 0 degrees, if the answer is what would the triangle look like if it was 180 degrees, we would just look at this triangle right here. And if it asks for like what are the points of the triangle, we would just have to figure out what the points of the triangle are. If it asks for, let's see, counterclockwise 270 degrees, okay? Counterclockwise is the opposite of a clock. This would be for the clock. Opposite would be the other way. 90, 180, 270. Here's our triangle that we would want for a counterclockwise 270. And then if it asks you for the points, we would just have to count up and see what the points are. So this isn't any different. It's just doing more than one point and actually making a shape. And again, take some time to take a look at this quick here. See if you can find some patterns between our starting point here and our 180 over here. There should be a definite pattern that we got going on. And then see if you can find a definite pattern going crossways here. And then we should be able to find a pattern comparing everything.